Hey guys, so I've been wanting to do a video on how to beat this boss for a while, and I think it's about time I did it. So, for those of you who don't know, the Adventurer is a hidden optional boss for you to beat, and the hardest enemy in both games. She actually appears in both Default and Second if you weren't aware, and today I'm going to go over where she is, her attack patterns, and how to beat her in both games on normal difficulty. I'd just like to talk for a second about the Adventurer before we get started. Honestly, this has to be the coolest idea for a save point I've come across in gaming. Being able to save anywhere is nice, yeah, and having a random person as the point is alright too. But the idea that it's an adventurer just intrigues me because this person is just wandering around the world, so it kind of makes sense why they're there in some random interdimensional portal world right before the final boss. Unlike having a random glow of light in a very evil area, usually that is like contradicting itself, or again, some completely random person, that doesn't make much sense. Plus, since the identity of the adventurer was always hidden until the end of the second, that just made her even more interesting. I like this concept. But enough chit chat, let's get to the video. Right, so first up is the locations of where the adventurer is. In Default, you can find the Adventurer boss in Dimensions Hasp, the dungeon that is unlocked by Sage just before your team is to go and fight the final boss. Behind the chest on the last floor, where the sword Durandal is, there should be a secret hallway. Head in there and keep following it. Eventually, you will see the Adventurer and her comrade waiting to fight you. Just talk to her, and the battle will begin once you accept the duel. In Bravely Second, however, you must beat the game before you will have access to the adventurer fight. This time, she's located in Dimension's Cauldron, what was formerly Overflow, the pathway to the Temple of Fire in Bravely Default. She is at the very end, of course, standing where you would enter the temple in Default. Once again, talk to her to challenge her and begin the fight. Now, Default's adventure fight is only the first phase of Bravely Second's, so we'll go over that first, starting with the Comrade, who does not change in either game. The Comrade is the fox you can sometimes run into in the games, usually for a tent cutscene in Second. It will have 50,000 HP. The Comrade can do a basic attack, but be warned, this can still hit very hard. Then it has 5 other abilities. It can cast Blind and Dispel across your entire team, which can make things difficult, and Curaga on the adventurer now and then. Now we're going to get into why the Comrade is a bit of a pain. Firstly, every single attack you do will hit the Comrade. Even if you target the adventurer, nope, you'll just use Protect Ally and take the hit for her. The Comrade can also use Adventurer's Friend to give the adventurer 3 BP, just like that. And even if you kill it, the adventurer will just bring it back next turn automatically. And vice versa. Yes, that's right. If the adventurer dies, but the comrade is still standing come next turn, he'll just use a rise and bring her back at full health. Because why not, you know? Now to the adventurer from Default, who has a whopping total of 530,000 HP and a base physical attack stat of 600. To start the fight, she will use basic attacks, which can hit the team hard as well, and Mass Slash, which is just a Godspeed strike on your entire team. It is very easy for the adventurer to hit max damage on her attacks, so be cautious. As the fight progresses, she will brave on occasion and combo these attacks. As the fight continues to draw on even further, she will begin to cast a Meteor, which can again cause massive damage to your team. This usually starts happening around half health. If you start to get her health even lower, she will start braving once into the negatives, so to -2. She won't brave any more than that, however. And of course there's the Call Comrade move. So how do you deal with all of this? Well, there are a few different ways. Stillness from the Spirit Master will save you more times than Agnes can say unacceptable, and the Monk Dark Knight combo is an effective damage dealer. A pirate comes in handy for lowering their stats, and counters actually hit the damage causer, and are not always taken by the comrade. My main team setup is what I used, which is another video I did, and though the fight took longer than it could have compared to other teams, I got it done in a safe way. I used my Dark Monk, if you will, to do about 40k to the comrade one turn, defaulted to get the BP back up, and then got my pirate to kill the comrade and have the dark monk hit the adventurer for 40k, plus whatever extra damage the pirate might have added after killing the comrade. Haste in World can also throw the adventurer off with the extra BP, so that can help too, or it can just make things worse, but I took it, so it's up to you. Giant's Draft from the Salve Maker, though, is probably my biggest recommendation for this fight. Having double HP is going to be crucial to surviving the adventurer's attacks, so maybe have one Salve Maker on your team. Giant's Draft, by the way, is 1 Beast Liver and 1 Dragon Fang in that order. Otherwise, it's just going to be a long fight, so have lots of items on hand, pray to yourself, and just drag it out. Once you've beaten her, she will drop a hat called the Adventurer's Mark. It doesn't do much, but it's a thing. You got a thing. Be happy. Alright, now I'll be getting into the Bravely Second version of the fight. I'll be referring to her by her true name, so if you didn't want spoilers, there's your last chance to get out. Now, the Bravely Second version of the fight is split into 2 parts. The first part is exactly the same as default. Same health, moves, everything. The second half of the fight, which is the Deneb phase, since she reveals her face, is similar, except worse. And overall, this entire fight is 1,060,000 points of HP. Yep, lots of fun. Deneb fights the same way as before, same health and whatnot, except this time she has some new abilities. Now instead of just casting Meteor, Deneb will cast Meteor Rain, which of course hits harder than just plain old Meteor. She also gains access to the Sonnenblume ability. If you are unfamiliar with this command, well, I'm not surprised. It is part of the Kaiser class and is probably the least used ability in the game. It reverses the order in which all moves are done and the order in which people attack. Therefore, the slower people attack first, whereas usually they'd be last. This can definitely screw you up a lot if you are using a command set loop or aren't paying attention, but it is easy to work around. Still annoying though. So, how do you beat Deneb in Bravely Second? Actually, there are a couple of ways. One is... Yeah, that's one, unfortunately. But there are also other ways. Swordmasters can use Nothing Ventured and Eye for an Eye and counter really hard against Deneb, but there's one ability that you can use that will completely, utterly destroy this boss's AI functions. Under the Kaiser job, there is an ability called Winter Storm. It nullifies all HP, MP, and BP regen for 3 turns. The others I'm not really paying attention to, but the HP regen will break this fight. All you have to do is kill the comrade, cast Winter Storm on the same turn, and then beat Deneb to death with the team of your choice as she desperately attempts to call her comrade back, only to have it stay dead because of Winter Storm. The AI is forced to resummon the comrade if it is dead and do nothing else, so just keep using Winter Storm and cut her down. It's a little sad watching the poor comrade constantly explode to nothingness, but at least you get the fight done. Sorry, Deneb. Anyways, once you beat her, she will drop 2 elixirs and a space-time blade and a space-time bezel. Basically the shield and sword forms of the space-time compass from the story, which also happen to be the best sword and shield in the game. Pretty cool. Much better reward than the hat from default. But that's all for this video. I hope it has helped you out whether or not you knew about the adventurer fight. Have fun with it, and I'll see you soon.